let's recreate a beautiful piece of artwork using our Cricut. Hello, I am Katie from the craftyblogStalker.com, and if you're new to my channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. The artwork I am recreating is from the John Richards collection. It is called Wings of and retails for $1,770. And I am going to be using my Cricut to help me recreate this beautiful piece of artwork. Cricut is sponsoring this project, so thanks Cricut. If you want a supply list with shoppable links, make sure to check the description of this video and it will also be in the blog post. I've got some paper laid out to protect my work surface, and I've got an 18 by 24 canvas. And the first thing we want to do is create that beautiful textured background on our piece of art. I'm going to be using just some all-purpose joint compound. We're going to be using quite a lot of this, not even close to the whole bucket. But the first thing we want to do is just stir it up and make sure that there aren't any bubbles in that top section that we're going to use. Just kind of smooth it out a little bit. I'm going to put some gloves on my hands just so I don't get super dirty. Plus we're going to be using our hands here in a little bit, so it's best to have some gloves. We want to put a good amount of joint compound on our canvas. I'm just going to scoop it and plop it right on. I can use my spatula to spread it. And I want to have a thickness of about 1/4 of an inch over the entire canvas. It's gonna take quite a bit since this is quite a large canvas. I got this little scraper set just at my dollar store, and I'm gonna start with the flat edge. I just wanna even it out and clean up my edges as well. I've got my joint compound out pretty even on my canvas, and now the fun part is to play. You can use the textured pieces to create different patterns, like so. And if you don't like how it looks, you can just recover it and start over. I am going to try to use my fingers. I don't want to push too hard because then I can see the canvas underneath. I don't want to go all the way down to the canvas. So I'm going to cover that up. You can just start right back over if you don't like it. This will dry though, so you can't wait too long before you finish your project. We're going to try this again. Not going to go hard. Scrape that off. Follow the pattern. And this is really just the creative part. You just make lines wherever you want, and you can even have some lines overlap other lines. It's just all about being creative. It's kind of like being a kid and playing in the mud. I'm going to clean up my edges. And this looks really good. I am really happy with this. This will dry in about 24 hours. So you want to put it somewhere where it won't be disturbed. For the butterflies, I'm going to be using the gold holographic sampler pack from Cricut, and it comes with 6 sheets of this really shiny, beautiful gold metallic adhesive vinyl. With this vinyl, I'm going to create my own cardstock because I just couldn't find any cardstock shiny enough for what I wanted. So this vinyl is going to be perfect. I'm only going to work with these 4 right here. And I only need about a 6 by 12 inch rectangle of vinyl. So I'm just gonna grab my paper trimmer and cut this down to 6 inches wide. And I am using a sheet of 12 by 18 construction paper just because this is what I already have on hand. And I know this white on white is kind of hard to see. So I've just got some gray paper that I'm going to put behind it so you can see better what I'm doing. I'm going to apply my vinyl to my paper before I cut it. So I'm going to turn it over, grab a weeding tool, and start to pull back that backing. But I'm not going to remove it all the way. I just want to get a little piece there and then fold that down. And instead of a scraper tool, I am going to use a lint-free cloth because a scraper tool can scratch this beautiful metallic and I don't want it scratched. So I'm going to use that lint-free cloth to press it down. I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to align this sheet with this corner. Let's see, can you see that corner? There we go, with this corner. And I like the corners because I can move this as needed to align it. And it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect because we are cutting and it won't cut all the way to the edge. Using that corner as my guide and press it down. Now to apply it, I'm going to grab my lint-free cloth and I'm going to press it down so I don't get any scratches with that lint-free cloth. And just keep going as I pull on that backing sheet and then lay that down. I'm going to bring my paper trimmer back in. I'm going to cut off that paper. So now I have my own gold metallic cardstock with that beautiful bold metallic vinyl. And I'm going to repeat that with my other 3 colors of vinyl. And I already have this project created in Cricut Design Space that you can use as well. And I have all of my butterflies in 3 different sizes. Now you'll notice I've got 4 different colors. That is to signify the different colors of gold that I have so that they'll go on different mats. So I'm ready to cut, so I'm going to click on Make It. This takes me to my mat preview. Now I want to do more than 16 butterflies, so I'm going to come up here and I'm going to change my project copies to 4, and that will add all of those extra butterflies. Down here on material size, I wish there was a 6x12 option, but there is not. We're just going to keep it 12x12, and we're going to have to do a little bit of arranging. Here on the mat preview, you can see that 6-inch line, and I'm just going to move some butterflies. Now if they're showing yellow, it means they're overlapping and they won't work, but I can turn some and move some up. I just want to make sure that I'm above that 6-inch line. And these that don't fit, I can either hide them or move them to a different mat. So let's see, those all fit really well on that mat, but I don't think I could add an extra row. Those fit well, and those fit well. So we're just gonna hide these 2 butterflies that we don't need. It'll be okay, we'll still have plenty of butterflies to work with. I'm gonna hit next. For our material, I'm going to search. So I'm going to go to all materials and I'm going to type in foil, and we have a foil poster board. That's what we're going to go with. And then for the pressure, whenever cutting paper, I always like to change it to more just to make sure I get a nice clean cut. Here's my standard grip mat, and I'm going to apply my paper to the mat. And again, I like to line it up by this corner because then if I need to, I can move this however I need to line it up on my mat. I can load my mat, and then when this light starts to blink, I can start the cut. It's done cutting, so I can unload my mat. When removing my butterflies from the mat, I want to turn the mat over and remove the mat from the material. Apply my next color and repeat until all of my butterflies are cut. Now that all my butterflies are cut, I can start folding them. And you can see I've already started. I've got my pile of folded ones over here. And to do that, all you do is take a butterfly. We're gonna fold it in half. With a bone folder, go over that crease. And then we're just gonna give a little bit of curve to those wings. So there is our butterfly. And we're going to do that to all of the cut pieces. It has been about a week since we last filmed. I said this would take about 24 hours to dry, but it actually took a little bit longer. It took 2 days just because the joint compound is pretty thick. So you can tell when it dries because it actually turns more white. And as it was drying, I noticed some little cracks in some places, and I just took a paintbrush and picked up a little bit of that joint compound and just painted it into those cracks. I've got some 180 grit sandpaper here, and I'm just gonna go over it and clean up some of those little peaks that I have. And you just want to lightly sand. And then I'm also going to go around these edges and just clean these up as well. That looks really good. Now, of course, when I was sanding, I didn't sand out the texture because it is texture art. So we want that texture and those different lines. Now to get all of that dust off, I've got a damp lint-free cloth and I'm just gonna go over it and just get out as much as I can. To paint, I'm gonna use this 2-inch wide paintbrush and then we're just going to paint it white and I'm gonna add a little bit of this pearl paint to it as well. This first coat that I'm applying is just the white and I'm just gonna apply the paint in the same motion as that texture because I want to make sure that I get all of those little nooks and crannies. There is my first coat and I'm gonna let this dry for about 20 minutes. This first coat covered really well, so I think I'm only gonna add one more coat of paint. And for this second coat, I'm gonna add this pearlized paint to my white paint, just to give it a little bit more glimmer. And then we're gonna do the same thing and just paint following those lines. And since I'm doing white, I don't need to worry about painting the edges of my canvas because my canvas is already white. Plus we're gonna frame it so you won't be able to see the edges anyways. But if you are painting a different color besides white, you may want to consider painting the edges of your canvas. And this time I'm gonna let the paint dry about 30 minutes because I really want this textured art to be completely dried before I glue on those butterflies. My canvas is dry and I love using that pearlized paint because it looks wet, but it isn't. It is completely dry. Here are all the little butterflies that we cut and folded, and I need to decide which side is my top and which side is my bottom. So the way that I'm going to arrange my butterflies, the top will be more covered than the bottom. So I want to choose my favorite side to be my bottom, which I think is this side down here. So I'm gonna make this my top and this my bottom. So I want all of my butterflies to be coming up to the top. So I'm just gonna take my butterflies. I'm just kind of arranging them how I want them to go. Also thinking about the different colors. I don't want a big group of like the striped gold ones together. I really like that arrangement and I don't think I need to change anything. I like kind of having a little hole right there. It looks more natural. And I'm gonna start gluing from the bottom. I've got my glue gun here. And to glue these down, I'm just gonna put some glue right there along that fold that we created and then put those down. And I'm just gonna move my way up. And I don't need to evenly space all of my butterflies because in nature, it's not perfect, so don't try and make this perfect either. Well, that was dumb. Note to self, don't blow strands off when your butterflies aren't glued down like I did. Oh, that's too funny. There we go, I fixed it. My last butterfly. At least I think that's my last butterfly. Let's see. Yep, I got them all. Isn't that so pretty? And I love the texture of the canvas because it actually makes the butterflies hitch in different directions. So really just helps bring that natural look to our piece of art. And here is our finished piece of art. Isn't that so pretty? I absolutely love how this turned out. Now let's go over the cost of everything. I'm not taking into account the cost of supplies that I already had on hand. So I'm not counting my mat or my Cricut machine or anything like that. The canvas came in 3 packs and they were 3 for $12, so the canvas was $4. The joint compound was $10 from my hardware store. The gold holographic vinyl pack from Cricut was $13. And I said about $5 for paint. Altogether, that makes this piece of art $32, but we aren't quite finished because if we want it to match a little bit more, then it needs a frame. Now, this is a floating canvas frame. I got this off of Amazon, and this was $19. And it comes with instructions on how to mount it and everything, but doesn't that just look more finished with the frame? That looks so good. So if you want the frame, then the total is $52. And still, that is such a great value over the $1,770. Plus, you made it, so it means more. But while I was preparing for this video, I made this one. The only real difference with this one is that I used the pink holographic sampler pack of vinyl, and for these lines, instead of using my fingers, I used these tools to get those perfect lines. And here are the two side by side so you can really see the difference. And if you do want to make the same work of art for your home, I do have the butterfly template in Cricut Design Space saved as a project. And you can find the link for that in the description of this video and in the blog post. And if you want more fun craft tutorials, make sure to check out my website, craftyblogStalker.com. Thanks everyone. Bye and happy crafting.